On our 8th wedding anniversary, my husband, Arthur, gifted me an entire room full of designer vinyl figures. He said these collectible figures offered emotional value and would make the children happy, making them the perfect gift. Relatives gathered nearby, utterly speechless. They mentioned that a single limited edition piece could fetch as much as 1.08 million. Arthur had spent a fortune collecting the complete set, truly showing his deep affection for me. Our son, Liam, came close to me, chattering incessantly as he introduced the name of each doll. Our daughter, Olivia, couldn't put the dolls down, only I stood there, feeling like an outsider, completely at a loss. These aren't practical, we should return them. As soon as I spoke, the faces of all three of them instantly darkened. Our son said I was a frumpy old mom, out of touch and unable to keep up with the times. Our daughter scolded me, calling me so unappreciative for wasting her dad's kind gesture. Just as the atmosphere turned stagnant, a woman pushed open the door and entered. It was Serafina, Arthur's one that got away. Aunt Serafina is late, but here are some doll outfits I bought for your little dolls. Do you like them? My blood instantly froze. I suddenly smiled, and tears began to roll down my cheeks. Only one thought remained in my heart. My marriage was coming to an end. At the family gathering, all eyes fell upon Serafina. This woman, who had returned from overseas, exuded charm in every gesture. My husband's gaze never left her, his eyes holding a fascination I had never seen before. Liam didn't even care about the dolls in his hands. He turned and rushed straight into Serafina's arms. He spoke with a sweet, sticky smile. "Aunt Serafina, you're finally back. Quick, tell Mom how popular these dolls are. Everyone in our class is trying to get them. If you don't have one, you'll be laughed at for being poor." Our daughter, Olivia, also wearing a princess dress, ran towards her. The two children bickered endlessly, vying for a spot in Serafina's embrace. In an instant, my entire body felt frozen. The name Serafina echoed repeatedly in my mind when we were naming them. I had asked Arthur. Without hesitation, he immediately wrote Liam and Olivia on the paper. I asked him why, but he wouldn't say anything. For 8 long years, this had been a thorn in my side. Until this moment, I finally knew why. He was using our children to reminisce about his unforgettable first love. Olivia spoke again, made a face at me, and then took the doll outfits Serafina had given her, tucking them into her arms as if they were precious treasures. "Aunt Serafina really understands me. I've wanted to buy clothes for my dolls for ages. Dad kept saying he wanted to give me a surprise, but it turns out it was Auntie's gift. Thank you, Auntie." Olivia hugged her, whispering secrets into her ear. "I've kept the princess dress you gave me safe. I'll wear it for you tomorrow, Auntie." Arthur finally snapped out of his memories of his first love, and his gaze turned icy cold when he looked at me. "Eleanor is just a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't usually go online, so it's not her fault she's not up on trends. Not everyone can be like you. Studying overseas and having access to first-hand resources in the fashion industry." As he finished speaking, mocking, judgmental glances swept over me. I lowered my head, looking helplessly at the apron I was wearing. Just a second ago, I was busy in the kitchen preparing for this family gathering, helping the housekeepers. My time was never my own, compared to the glamorous Serafina. I was more like a full-time nanny, like a servant. Serafina shot Arthur a look, her tone playfully reproving. "Eleanor has sacrificed for the family. It's bad enough you're not considerate, but how can you mock her? Eleanor, don't take it to heart. It's just that these dolls are truly hard to get your hands on. So Arthur getting you the complete set must mean he put a lot of thought into it for you." So they knew it was Arthur and my wedding anniversary today after all, but the gift he gave me was only meant to please the children. No one cared about my preferences. After putting away all the dolls, Liam's stomach rumbled, and he impatiently started to clamor. He nudged me. "Mom, isn't dinner ready yet? I'm starving. Aunt Serafina just got off the plane. She must be hungry too. Hurry up and go. Don't let her go hungry." Dad said women aren't pretty when they're hungry. As soon as he finished speaking, Arthur gave him a cold glance. Liam immediately knew better and fell silent. The housekeepers brought the food to the table, and the relatives resumed their cheerful conversation. Everything that had just happened felt like a hallucination. My seat had been taken by Serafina, and as I stood to the side about to speak, Olivia noticed something and spoke first. "Mom, what are you doing? That's Auntie's seat. Auntie rarely comes back. Can't you just eat in the kitchen with the housekeepers?" The two children thought the same thing, and Liam immediately chimed in. "Exactly. I saw on a TV show that married women aren't allowed at the main table, Mom. You're so unfeminine. Go on, move. I froze on the spot, feeling as if I'd been slapped several times across the face. A stinging, painful sensation. He picked up a bite of food and shoved it into his mouth, his small face turning green. The next second, he spit it out directly onto the table. Mom, why is your cooking so awful? Today's a big day. Why can't we have fried chicken? Aunt Serafina said we're the most important today. I want fried chicken. Make a new batch. The relatives nearby only laughed, finding the children's remarks innocent, even praising Liam for being precocious. Not a single person stood up for me. After a long silence, Arthur's patience ran out, and he slammed down his fork. What are you just standing there for? Didn't you hear Liam speak? It's rare for the family to gather. Who are you giving that attitude to? Serafina quickly moved to smooth things over. Don't be so upset, Liam. Olivia, how about Auntie orders some takeout for you? Mom has already worked so hard. Let's not make her redo it. Arthur pressed down her hand that was reaching for payment, saying coldly, I'm only going to ask you once. Can you make the fried chicken? Arthur, I told you, fried chicken isn't good for the children's development. Before I could finish, Liam and Olivia burst into loud sobs. Mean mom, mean mom. You just don't want us to be happy. Auntie, you don't know. Mom never lets us eat those things, saying they're unhealthy. She's just afraid we'll like outside food and won't eat hers. Her cooking is awful. If you hadn't ordered us takeout from overseas, we would have starved to death long ago. Serafina gave an awkward smile, wiping away the children's tears. Okay, Auntie will take you to eat. Don't cry anymore. The two little ones, who had just been weeping, instantly became joyful and started bouncing in their chairs. Hooray for Aunt Serafina. Arthur abruptly stood up and pulled the two children out the door. We're not eating at this family gathering. You clean up the mess yourself. I'm taking the children out to eat. I don't need to see your cold face. The family gathering ended on a sour note. Looking at the chaotic table, I suddenly felt incredibly weary. 8 years of marriage, and I had given everything for this family. Yet in the end, there was not a single word of understanding, not a single word of concern. All I received was endless resentment. The children I had brought into the world, nearly losing my life in the process, preferred Serafina. My husband, whom I loved to the core, also harbored his cherished first love in his heart. Suddenly, there was no longer any meaning in holding on. Perhaps this marriage should have ended long ago. I printed out a copy of the divorce papers and took them home. It was past midnight when Arthur finally returned with the children. The three of them stood at the doorway, the two children clinging tightly to his legs. Dad, you said you'd buy the house next door for Aunt Serafina to live in. You can't go back on your word. Otherwise, Olivia and I won't talk to you anymore. Arthur sighed resignedly, reaching out to tap Liam's nose. You like Aunt Serafina that much? What about Mom? You don't want her anymore? Liam pouted, his face full of disdain. Mom is so out of touch. She doesn't understand what we like at all. Aunt Serafina is so much better. She lets us eat fried chicken and drink soda. Tomorrow, we can brag to our classmates again. The room door opened, and the two children rushed straight into the bedroom to sleep. The living room lights were off. Arthur frowned deeply, looking at the figure sitting on the sofa. What's going on? Are you blind? The lights came on, illuminating the divorce papers on the coffee table. Arthur, let's talk. He rubbed his tired temples, as if all his energy had been spent outside, leaving him with no strength to deal with me. Here we go again, Eleanor. I'm exhausted, and I have a meeting tomorrow. Just 10 minutes. It won't take up much of your time. I stood up, knocked on the children's bedroom door, and brought them to the living room. If Dad and I get a divorce, who will you live with? Arthur instantly became furious. Are you crazy? Saying this in front of the children? Just because I took the kids out to eat with Serafina today? I was exhausted too. A bone-deep weariness that made speaking feel like it was draining my soul. You know it's more than just that. You still haven't given me an answer about Liam and Olivia's names, but I've figured it out myself. I didn't want to expose you. When the children grow up, they'll have the right to choose for themselves. As soon as I finished speaking, Liam's eyes suddenly lit up. We want to live with Aunt Serafina. Mom, can they award us to Aunt Serafina? Olivia was still clutching her dolls, which were wearing the new dresses Serafina had given them today. Mom, I want Aunt Serafina too. She said she could make me as pretty as her. My last shred of hope vanished. Looking at the flesh and blood I had carried for 9 months, I actually felt an urge to laugh. Perhaps when one is truly heartbroken, tears simply won't fall. Before Arthur could speak, Liam was already pulling him towards the coffee table. Dad, hurry up and get divorced. Then you won't have to buy Auntie a house, she can live with us. Can we pick up Aunt Serafina tomorrow? The school has a parent-teacher conference, and I want Auntie to come. Olivia's face hardened, and she rushed over to hug Arthur's other arm. No way. I said it first. You go with Mom. It'll be your turn next time. You don't want Mom. So why are you dumping her on me? I don't want her either. Get away from me. Struggling to keep myself from losing control, I flipped to the last page of the divorce papers. Sign it. I'll make your family complete. My fingertips trembled slightly in the light. Arthur let out a long sigh, as if his patience had reached its limit. Eleanor, let's talk about this tomorrow. We both need to cool down. In the end, that agreement remained unsigned. That night, Liam even left the agreement on his bedside table, hoping that by morning, he would have a new mom. Witnessing everything, I quietly turned off my 5 o'clock alarm clock. With 8 years of shackles lifted, I felt significantly lighter. That morning, I lay in bed, trying to catch up on sleep, though I couldn't fall asleep. I also didn't want to get up. Liam didn't see breakfast on the table, so he went upstairs and started kicking my door repeatedly. Why are you so lazy? Where's our food? Mom, get up now. I want to eat. Olivia, being more reserved, directly made a phone call to Serafina, her voice echoing through the house. Auntie, did you say you'd bring us a sandwich? Yay, I'm coming right now. Liam heard her, made a face at my bedroom door. Get up or don't, Dad already hates you, and now he'll like you even less. Olivia, let's go find Aunt Serafina and get some good food. Let that lazy mom starve. Tears soaked my pillow, and my entire body trembled uncontrollably. 3 hours later, I clicked on the school's online portal livestream, which showed the parent-teacher conference. To say I could let go would be a lie. After all, they were my own flesh and blood. I still found it somewhat difficult to part with them, but seeing Liam and Olivia sitting obediently beside Serafina, that emotion suddenly vanished. Only a bitter irony remained. Classmates chattered excitedly around them. The praises made both children proudly lift their chins. Isn't she pretty? I told you my mom is beautiful. I didn't bring her before because I was afraid you'd feel inferior. Olivia gave Serafina a loud kiss on the cheek. This is my mom, a famous designer from overseas. You can find her information online. My mom designed doll outfits for the entire series of designer vinyl figures. Next time, I'll let you come to my house and see them. Children's competitive spirit is always strong. After their own parents were successively scorned, the classmates were all taken away. Only Liam and Olivia remained by Serafina's side. Unwilling to leave, the parent-teacher conference ended. The house door was opened, and a moving company delivered a pile of items. Serafina's clothes and personal belongings. Following closely behind were the 2 children. Clinging to Serafina's arms, refusing to let go, Serafina smiled helplessly. Didn't you say I was going to live next door? This is your dad and mom's house. It's not appropriate for Auntie to stay here. She wanted the moving company to take the luggage back. Liam immediately protested. Mom said Olivia and I are to be awarded to you. We want to be with you. Olivia, being more cunning, feigned an aggrieved and pitiful expression. Auntie, you wouldn't dislike us, would you? We only have you now. If you leave, Mom will beat us to death. I stood upstairs, listening to the children's false accusations against me. My heart ached to the point of numbness. Surprisingly, I no longer felt sadness. As they finished speaking, I appeared before the 3 of them. Stay, this house will be yours soon anyway. Ignoring Serafina's surprised expression, I turned and entered the room. I started clearing out my belongings. Allergy medicine was something the 2 children took most often when they were little. These boy-girl twins were born prematurely, and their bodies had always been weak. Cold medicine also became a regular occurrence once they started school. Liam, being a boy, always liked to take off his clothes and would catch colds easily. Every time, I would stay by their bedside, and when they had a high fever, I wouldn't dare close my eyes all night. Olivia was better, but girls always liked to secretly use my skincare products, and if they licked lipstick into their stomachs, they'd get gastroenteritis. I could even identify a whole box of medicine without looking at the packaging. All this effort, they had never seen. And in the future, There would be no chance to see it again. At 8 in the evening, Serafina was designing in the home office. The two children were playing games and watching videos in the living room. Serafina let out a gasp, and the two children immediately rushed upstairs. "What's wrong, Auntie?" She was crying hysterically, pointing at the design plans soaked with coffee. "This is the result of a month of hard work, just wasted like that." Olivia scurried over to the table to get tissue to wipe the design. Midway through the action, she was pushed away by Liam. The two whispered for a while. The moment Arthur pushed open the door and entered, they said in unison, "Dad, Mom deliberately ruined Auntie's design. She's a bad mom. We don't want her in the house anymore." I stiffened as I passed the home office, raising my eyes in disbelief. "You're lying. I didn't even go in." Liam burst into tears. "Mom wouldn't even apologize to Auntie, and then she threatened us to pretend we didn't know, saying if we told Dad, she wouldn't let us go to school anymore." I squeezed my palms tightly, my voice frighteningly cold. "Serafina has been here the whole time. If you don't believe me, you can ask her." As I spoke, Serafina's expression became conflicted. Before she could open her mouth, Arthur had already smashed a cup at my feet. "Are you saying your own son is lying to help an outsider? Is that it? Eleanor, do I look like an idiot to you?" Olivia was sobbing, her body convulsing. "Our teacher taught us that when you do something wrong, you should admit it. How can Mom be worse than us?" Arthur's face suddenly turned cold. "Eleanor, don't you feel ashamed? Making two children take the blame for you? Do you still deserve to be a mother?" I suddenly laughed, and as I laughed, tears started to fall. "Yes, you're right. I don't deserve to be. Let's get a divorce. Let Serafina raise them, as you wish." Arthur slammed the door shut and left. Behind him, the two children clung to Serafina, demanding rewards. I walked out of the room in a daze, feeling only how absurd and laughable these past 8 years had been. Midway down the stairs, the vase on the cabinet crashed in front of me, shattering into pieces. Liam stood upstairs, holding a slingshot, looking down at me condescendingly. "Stupid mom, get out now. If you bully Aunt Serafina again, I'll make you regret it." As I turned, I wiped away my tears, my voice barely audible. "Fine. I'll leave, and I'll never come back." Stepping onto the last stair, my foot slipped, the back of my head hit the stairs hard, and blood instantly stained my nightgown red. Olivia peeked out from around the corner and high-fived Liam. "Yes, I told you this trick would work, didn't I? Your aim is terrible. Headshots mean good luck." "Oh yeah." Liam and Olivia bounced away together, but the next second, they ran into the man holding the divorce papers. "What's going on?" Olivia pinched her own thigh and burst into tears on the spot. "Mom said if we didn't help her lie, she'd punish us. And then she accidentally fell down herself." Liam snapped back to reality and also corroborated the story. Arthur's gaze towards me became utterly cold, chilling to the bone. He carried me into the ambulance, dropping a signed copy of the divorce papers. "I thought you just had an issue with Serafina, but I never imagined you'd stoop to using the children out of jealousy. Eleanor, you're right. You're no longer fit to be a proper mother. This is over between us." I was rushed to the emergency room, before losing consciousness. Fragments of the past 8 years flashed repeatedly through my mind. I had married him originally to settle my family's debts. I had given birth to our children so they could have a complete family for 8 whole years. I had swallowed my pride and lived like a rat in a sewer. I was like a servant, a nanny, a tool, but I was never myself. They said Serafina was beautiful, elegant, ambitious, and had ideals, but before I married, I had lived that kind of life too. They forced me to shed all my pretenses, to pluck out every barb on my being, dressing me in the garb of a stay-at-home mom, only to mock me in the end for having no soul of my own. How laughable. After the surgery, I was moved to a hospital room. The moment I woke up, Liam and Olivia both sent me messages, saying they missed me very much. A tense string in my heart suddenly twinged. Without replying, I opened the house's security footage. The two children were swinging in the backyard. "Do you think this will really make Mom come back?" "Of course, she loves us most. As long as we apologize, she'll definitely come back." "If she doesn't come back, who's going to do the chores around the house?" "Aunt Serafina's hands are for designing. They can't be soiled with dirty work like this. A free nanny is too good to pass up." Upon discharge, I took a taxi directly to the airport. All I had on me were my identification documents and the divorce papers Arthur had left for me. After buying my ticket, Arthur sent me a message. "You're out of the hospital." "Where are you?" "I need to talk to you. I've seen the security footage from the Home Office. Perhaps an apology awaited me, or a rare moment of tenderness, but what he owed me was far more than that. Outsiders said my husband was successful in his career, and our children were smart and clever, making me a winner in life. No one asked how tired I was. No one cared about my thoughts. What Serafina possessed was once what I pursued. It was time to reclaim those lost parts of my past. I didn't reply. I simply blocked and deleted his contact information. Turning, I boarded the plane, embracing the freedom that was mine. The plane slowly took off, soaring above the horizon. The golden sunlight of dawn streamed through the window, yet it couldn't disperse the gloom in my heart. I leaned back against the seat as soon as I closed my eyes. My mind was filled with memories of the past 8 years. I had once longed for a happy and complete family, for my husband's care, for my children's affection. Before Serafina appeared, I believed this wish could be fulfilled, as long as I worked hard enough, as long as I poured all my heart into this family. Hearts are made of flesh and blood. They would surely feel the warmth, surely be moved by me. But now, I realized I had been too naive. Married women often posted videos online, crying about the various dissatisfactions they experienced in their marriages when I had nothing to do. I would also scroll through videos to pass the time. Whenever I saw their comments, I always felt they articulated my own unspoken feelings. I shared these videos with Arthur. The screen would quickly show a read receipt. He had work to handle. His phone was never out of reach. But I never saw a single reply from him. I thought he understood, just wasn't good with words. I thought he cared for me too, and that it was just typical for middle-aged couples to lose the passion of youth, living together with mutual respect and unspoken understanding. It seemed like a complete life, but this dream shattered completely the day Serafina returned. There was one thing I had never told Arthur. Serafina's account was algorithmically suggested to me, and like a mouse peeking into someone else's happiness, I quietly followed her. From then on, the videos she scrolled through would always have Arthur tagged in the comments section. Arthur would reply within 10 minutes, not just text, but also with cute emojis, making him seem like a completely different person from his usual serious and cold self. I had suspected he might have handed the account over to his secretary to manage, but I knew that was impossible. He had too many secrets that I wasn't privy to. Arthur would order takeout for me, and I would tell myself he still cared about me, that he cared if I was hungry. But immediately after, he would always send another message, saying the 2 children liked the food from that place, and he hoped I would learn their preferences and cook something similar after eating it. He would bring me an umbrella on rainy days, and when I had a cold, he would stay by my side, never leaving. I had been touched, and whenever I wanted to take our relationship a step further, he would say, "You have a cold, and no one will take care of the 2 children, for the children to grow up healthy. You can't have any health issues." The care I received was for the children's sake. The happiness I gained was to pave the way for the children. After 30 years of life, I felt such defeat for the first time. What was even more ridiculous was that someone told me Arthur chose to marry me simply because I had majored in the same subject as Serafina in college, as a designer. The only difference was that she was thriving in the design industry overseas, while I had wasted all my youth and time within the confines of our home. Back then, I had even confidently declared, telling him that this was the life I had chosen. I was very happy then, with a loving husband and adorable children, but self-deception has its limits. And 8 years had already shattered the lie. With Serafina's return, I could no longer deceive myself. Even the 2 children were constantly reminding me of the fact that I wasn't loved. As the plane landed, my first priority was to rent an apartment. As soon as my phone turned on, several messages from back home popped up. Liam said, "Mom, when are you coming home? Are you not going to want Olivia and me anymore? We miss you so much, Mom. I want to eat your cooking again. I got so inflamed after eating fried chicken, and I've had an upset stomach ever since." Olivia sent me emojis of grievance and crying, followed by a picture. It showed a picture of her clothes ruined by the nanny. "Mom, my dress is ruined. They don't even know how to hand wash it. When are you coming back? Olivia misses you so much. You're still the best mom." Aunt Serafina says her skincare products are all international luxury brands and too expensive for me to play with. "Mom, can you buy me a cheaper set? My face is all rashy from allergies." Reading this, I suddenly laughed, a laugh filled with endless bitterness and self-mockery. Just as I expected, they only remembered me when life wasn't going their way, remembered me as their mom, or perhaps as the free but useful nanny. I still didn't reply to their messages. I simply deleted both children's contact information. From today on, their mom should be a different person, shouldn't she? In the car, I looked at the scenery outside the window. This was my first time traveling abroad by myself. I once thought a small house would trap me for a lifetime, that I wouldn't venture far alone until they grew up. But now that I had actually done it, I found that it wasn't as difficult as I had imagined. The urban development overseas was very different from back home, a city center filled with skyscrapers and sparse groups of people crossing the street. Everyone's faces often held a hint of indifference, the look of being worn down by life. Exactly like me now, when signing the rental contract, the landlord looked at me, her expression conflicted. Ms. Sue, this apartment building is near a school, and quite a few couples live here, so it might get noisy at night. Please feel free to contact me if you find it unsuitable. I waved my hand, indicating I didn't mind. I chose this apartment because it was closest to downtown, making it convenient for me to find a new job. After 8 years of raising children, I had severe sleep deprivation. Even if the neighbors were noisy, I had developed the ability to fall asleep the moment I closed my eyes. That night, I realized I had been naive after all. The sound of children running echoed from the apartment building, constantly pounding on the thin floorboards. The soundproofing was terrible, and a woman's voice sounded utterly helpless. Stop running, you'll disturb the other neighbors. I'm telling you one last time. Stop, don't move. The sound of the child's crying filled me with immense annoyance. Liam used to be as mischievous as them, and during that period, I hadn't slept a full night once. Just as I was about to go upstairs to reason with them, the male homeowner appeared. Shut up. Mom is working. If you don't behave, I'll consider giving you a lesson. No, I don't want to. Mom said she'd take me shopping. I want ice cream. A sharp sound echoed, and it wasn't hard to imagine that the male homeowner had resorted to physical discipline. My heart leaped to my throat, anticipating the child's complete breakdown and cries, but unexpectedly, no crying followed. The male homeowner spoke again. Remember, Mom still has to work. If you want to go out and play, you need to be quiet. Once Mom finishes work, the promise still stands. After that, the noise completely stopped. I couldn't help but think, so, children's crying could actually be stopped. And fathers also had the responsibility of disciplining children. Under the videos of those complaining women online, there were always comments from overseas users lecturing them, saying they should just get a divorce and find an overseas husband that way. They would have a life of their own back then. I had dismissed it, thinking all men in the world were like Arthur. But now, I saw that there was some truth to that statement. Women have been bound by societal constraints for far too long, confined to the small kitchen and immersed in their children's studies, but everyone forgets that without a father's involvement in education, it's difficult to raise a mentally healthy child. That night, as I closed my eyes, preparing to rest, a friend request came from an unfamiliar number. When I opened it, the profile picture was Serafina's photo. Thinking she might be struggling with suddenly becoming a mother, I kindly accepted, preparing to share my experiences with her. The next second, a voice phone call came through. It was Arthur. He looked very tired, as if he had been working all day and was now overwhelmed by family troubles. He pressed hard on his temples, finally speaking. Aren't you coming back? Eleanor, my patience is limited. How long are you going to keep this up? All right, I was wrong. I apologize this time. The 2 children really need you. The nanny isn't taking care of them well. They stayed up all night watching cartoons and only just went to bed now. My tone was indifferent, as calm as if I were discussing the evening's weather. So he froze, not expecting me to be so indifferent. So you're still not coming back? Liam and Olivia are your own children. Can you really just hand them over to strangers to care for? I suddenly laughed. Strangers? Arthur, I think I was the stranger between all of you, wasn't I? From the moment you made this phone call until now, you've spoken 4 sentences, and every single one was about the children. What about me? Did you ask me once how I was doing? Did you ask about my injuries? Arthur's voice deepened. You've already been discharged. Which means your injuries aren't serious. You have a family. What kind of impression does staying in a hotel make? I know what you mean, but we're an old married couple now. There's no need for all that fuss, is there? It's not that I can't offer warm greetings, but what's the point of acting? Will it double the money in your account? Or improve the children's grades? You want a divorce, and I agreed. I know you're just throwing a tantrum. Serafina is only staying for 2 days. She'll move out, and it won't affect us. Do you really have to make such a scene? 8 years had passed, and he was still so self-righteous. Accumulated exhaustion surged through me, and I was even breathing heavily as I spoke. These past years, I took care of the children without you ever having to lift a finger. You've had it easy as a father, but those days are over now. People can't stay stuck in the same place forever. You knew perfectly well what I wanted, but you never bothered to give it to me, not even a pretense of family warmth. I was like a candle, burning everything for this family. I don't ask for your understanding, only for fairness, since you all think I can take good care of the children. And now I'm leaving as you wished. Why bother making this phone call? If there's nothing else, just hang up. If the children can't find something, I can kindly tell you, but you'll only get one chance. I don't have that much patience. Ignoring his reaction, I hung up the phone call directly. But I, who had always suffered from severe sleep deprivation, found myself sleepless that night. Arthur's messages kept coming. Every line was filled with the same complaints as before. 8 years of marriage, and I haven't deprived you of food or drink. Both children attend an elite private school. I honestly don't understand what else you could possibly be unhappy about. I work incredibly hard earning money outside. How many clients does the company have to deal with? You're at home, sheltered from wind and rain. Do you know how many people envy your life? You weren't like this before. How did you become so unreasonable? People are selfish. They only see their own difficulties. He couldn't see my struggles, and I couldn't sympathize with his heartlessness, but I wouldn't waste any more time lecturing him. I turned on Do Not Disturb for Serafina's account and drafted a resume overnight. The only thing to be thankful for was that there was no workplace discrimination here. They wouldn't question my work ability just because of my 8 years as a stay-at-home mom. The very next morning, as soon as I submitted my resume, 2 design companies immediately contacted me. They said that because I hadn't produced any designs in the past 8 years, they needed me to create a design to demonstrate my professional competence. I readily agreed. For 3 days, I didn't leave the apartment once. I buried myself in the design, drawing for an entire day. The chronic pain accumulated from years of holding children gradually surfaced. My back ached so much I could barely sit, forcing me to constantly shift positions. By the time one design was completed, it was already midnight. After sending the email to the company, they didn't reply until dawn. Oh my goodness. You created such a perfect design in just 3 days? Ms. Sue, you're even more dedicated than I imagined. Working until midnight, you really need to get some rest. She probably didn't know that this amount of effort was less than 1/10 of the exhaustion I'd felt from raising children. I successfully signed with the company. Meanwhile, back home, Arthur's house was in utter chaos. Liam's homework assignments were torn, and Olivia's dolls had lost their doll outfits. The 2 children were rolling around on the living room floor, whining for Serafina to help them with their problems. And Serafina, I don't want to do my homework assignments. I already know how to do these. Why do I have to do them again at home? And Serafina, the clothes for these dolls are missing. I want a prettier one. Can you get it for me? My classmates have already seen the old ones. They're not exciting anymore. The bedroom door opened, and Arthur came in with a cold expression, questioning the housekeepers. Why is my tie wrinkled? Can't you even wash clothes properly? Do you know how many people laughed at me during my business meeting today? This is the company's reputation. Whoever washed this, you won't get paid this month. He didn't know that, in the past, I had hand-washed and personally ironed all his clothes. He thought the housekeepers had done it, so he came home and took his anger out on them. The 2 housekeepers frantically cleaned up the mess the children had made, while also trying to respond to Arthur. Mr. Arthur, your clothes were always hand-washed by your wife before. This is our first time doing it, so we're not very skilled yet. We apologize and will be more careful in the future. Serafina took the takeout, unboxing it and placing it on the table. Liam, your favorite fried chicken is here. Please stop crying, okay? Aunt Serafina even ordered a small toy for you. Liam, who usually clamored for fried chicken, turned pale this time. Fried chicken again. Aunt Serafina, I've had an upset stomach 5 times in 2 days. I'm not eating it. I want real food. I want Mom to cook. Olivia also started crying. Her wails were deafening. Arthur was already annoyed, and now he was absolutely furious. Enough! Aunt Serafina has been working all day. How would she have time to cook? The food ordered is what you like to eat. What else are you dissatisfied with? If you make any more demands, don't blame me if I get physical with you. Not only did the 2 children not appreciate it, but they cried even louder. Dad, You're so mean to us. You're a bad guy. I don't want you as my dad anymore. Mom used to cook for us even after a busy day. Why can't Aunt Serafina? Aunt Serafina said she'd be better to us than Mom. Aunt Serafina is a liar. And Olivia. She was sent to the hospital yesterday with gastroenteritis before he could finish. Serafina clapped her hand over Liam's mouth. Arthur frowned. Gastroenteritis? Serafina offered an embarrassed smile. I ordered seafood soup for them, and who knew Olivia couldn't handle it, so I apologize. I'll be more careful next time. Arthur slammed his phone onto the table. Olivia's stomach has always been sensitive. She's never been this sick from bad food before. Didn't you get her any medicine? Rushing her to the hospital at the slightest thing will lower her immunity. Seeing Serafina's wronged and self-reproaching expression, Arthur ultimately held back from saying anything harsher. Not wanting to stay another second, he turned and went upstairs, slamming the bedroom door shut, but he couldn't block out the children's cries from the living room. He clipped a segment of the security footage and sent it to me, still using Serafina's account. Eleanor, the children miss you a lot. Their liking for Serafina is just a novelty. Serafina is an outsider and can't replace you in their hearts. Do you really have to be upset with them? When I saw the video, I was at the office, designing. Without replying, I compiled a document listing the children's preferences and things to avoid, and sent it to him. It was tens of thousands of words, all meticulously recorded by me over the past 8 years. Arthur had never participated in raising the children, so naturally, he knew nothing. Long after the document was sent, Arthur didn't reply again. The divorce papers lay quietly in the drawer, nearing their effective date. I thought that would be the end of it, but that evening, when I left work, there was an extra figure downstairs. Arthur rushed over, looking disheveled, stubble already darkening his chin. Seeing me, his face was full of disbelief. He raised his phone, showing me the family photo set as his wallpaper. Eleanor, the children are only 8 years old. Are you really going to settle overseas? Is your temper really that bad? I suddenly laughed, pointing to my face, which he had clearly photoshopped onto the picture. Arthur, you're even faking a family photo. Do you really think this home belongs to me? His back slumped noticeably, and his voice was utterly exhausted. Eleanor, I've just been too busy with work, but I truly believe I've never neglected taking care of you. I've fulfilled my duties as a father and a husband. What more do you want from me to be satisfied? I admit that the children's accusations against you are my fault. I haven't taught them well, but don't you have your own shortcomings? If you could just humor them like Serafina does, would they still act this way? Before I went overseas, Liam and Olivia clung tightly to my legs, refusing to let go, begging me to bring their mom back. You've been gone a long time. You don't know what's been happening at home. Serafina has already moved out. Liam kicked her out. He said Serafina is no match for his mom, and he knows he was wrong. At this, the sarcastic smile on my face became impossible to suppress. Like father, like son, they disliked me because I didn't let them eat junk food and didn't understand their dolls. They like me because Serafina's care doesn't cater to their whims. The only thing they didn't understand was the effort I put in as their mother. Arthur, I never complained about how much I sacrificed for this family. Now that you're just experiencing a fraction of it yourself, you can't handle it. You praise Serafina for being young, beautiful, having dreams and ambitions, but when did I ever lack dreams? I don't blame her for appearing. On the contrary, I'm grateful to her for allowing me to truly wake up at 30. We're over, once the mandatory waiting period for divorce is up. I'll return back home to finalize the papers with you. If you want me to go back to being a housekeeper, I'm sorry. I don't think I can do that anymore. The moment I turned to leave, he suddenly rushed forward and gripped my wrist tightly. Eleanor, we're not young anymore. No matter how big our arguments get, we need to think about the children. Tears fell uncontrollably. I couldn't hold back my emotions anymore and turned to slap him. Are the children only mine? Why have I been the only one making concessions for the past 8 years? Now the tables have turned. It's your turn. What were you doing when I stayed up all night caring for the children? What were you doing when I pulled all-nighters to feed the child? Where were you when the child was sick and I begged you to come home and take my place watching over them? In this world, you're the last person who has the right to make me back down. The gifts you gave me were collectible figures to make the children happy. The clothes you bought me were just practical pants to make it easier for me to care for the children. In this marriage, I lost myself, lost my soul. I'm truly exhausted. Please, let me go. After venting all her emotions, Arthur was completely stunned, his eyes full of bewilderment. It was as if he couldn't comprehend why the full-time wife, who in his eyes was clearly the happiest role, had turned out this way. But it doesn't matter. As long as he takes care of the children, he'll understand my suffering one day. I believe that day won't be far off. Ignoring his reaction, I got into the car and left on the day the mandatory waiting period for divorce ended. I returned back home as promised. After collecting the documents, I didn't spare Arthur a single glance the entire time. As I passed his car, the two children were locked inside, continuously banging on the windows. Faint cries could be heard, but this time, I wouldn't look back.